Every year, thousands of planes slice across the sky, safely carrying business travelers, families, and nervous first-timers. Flying is so reliable, most of us fear the middle seat more than crashing. But sometimes, rarely, eerily, a plane doesn't just crash. It vanishes. No wreckage. No survivors. No black box pings. Just an empty ocean or stretch of wilderness where radar once showed a blip. Aviation's ghost stories, and they're chillingly real. Number 10. The Bermuda Triangle's Phantom C-119 Flying Boxcar, 1965. June 5, 1965, a U.S. Air Force C-119. Flying Boxcar, a big, lumbering military transport, took off from Homestead Air Force Base in Florida, bound for Grand Turk Island. Routine mission, decent weather, experienced crew. Easy. Then radio silence. The plane dropped off radar like someone had unplugged it. The military mounted a massive search, 100,000 square miles of ocean, combed by ships and aircraft. Not a seat cushion, not an oil slick, not a single clue surfaced. Many whispered the words Bermuda Triangle. Official reports, meanwhile, shrugged and closed the case. 9 crew members vanished as though spirited away. Number 9. Flying Tiger Line. Flight 739. If one plane vanishing isn't creepy enough, how about a whole plane load of U.S. soldiers on a secret mission? On March 16, 1962, Flying Tiger Line Flight 739, a Lockheed Super Constellation, left Guam for the Philippines carrying 93 American servicemen and 11 crew members. Halfway there, poof. No SOS call, no radar echo, nothing. Search teams scoured 200,000 square miles of Pacific Ocean for 8 days. Nada. Adding to the intrigue, the passengers had been told to bring no personal IDs because their mission was hush-hush. The only possible clue came from a tanker ship crew that reported seeing a bright flash in the sky, maybe an explosion, at about the right time. Conspiracy theories range from sabotage to Cold War espionage. Official explanation? None. The U.S. military eventually stopped looking. Imagine being the insurance agent on that claim. Number 8. The stolen Boeing 727 that flew into oblivion, 2003. On May 25, 2003, a Boeing 727-223 that had been grounded in Angola for unpaid fees and maintenance issues suddenly came to life. Someone taxied it onto the runway, took off without radio clearance, and flew into the African night. 2 people were spotted boarding, American pilot Ben Padilla and a mechanic. Neither nor the jet has been seen since. Theories? Maybe stolen for smuggling. Maybe crashed somewhere remote. But hiding a 153-foot airplane is harder than hiding a Prius. 2 decades later, not a single confirmed trace has turned up. Somewhere, an airport security chief still wakes up sweating about this one. Number 7. BSAA Star Tiger. January 30th, 1948. The British South American Airways Star Tiger, a sleek Avro Tudor foe, departed the Azores for Bermuda under perfect weather. The crew was experienced. The flight was routine, until 2 hours before landing when the radios went dead. Searchers scoured the Atlantic with ships and aircraft, covering thousands of square miles. Nothing. No oil slicks, no life rafts, no debris, just an eerie silence. The aircraft carried 25 people, including highly skilled pilots and navigators, which only deepened the mystery. Weather had been mild, and mechanical issues weren't reported. The British investigation ended with what's basically a shrug emoji in bureaucratic prose. The aircraft is missing, and the cause unknown. It's one of the earliest and most unsettling cases tied to the legend of the Bermuda Triangle. Number 6. BSAA Star Aerial. As if one mysterious vanishing wasn't enough, the same airline lost another plane almost exactly 1 year later. On January 17, 1949, the Star Aerial, also an Avro Tudor, was flying a calm route from Bermuda to Jamaica. It checked in with air traffic control one last time and then silence. Clear skies, experienced pilots, no distress calls, it simply vanished. Search teams were again launched. combing the Caribbean and Atlantic waters with planes, ships, and radio sweeps. Nothing surfaced, not a scrap of fuselage, not a single clue to what went wrong. The aircraft had been operating normally, and there were no weather disturbances to blame. 2 unexplained disappearances in a single year destroyed public confidence and helped push British South American Airways out of business. When your airline develops a reputation for making planes disappear, customers understandably start looking elsewhere for vacation flights. Number 5. Northwest Airlines Flight 2501. On June 23, 1950, Northwest Airlines Flight 2501, a Douglas DC-4, was flying from New York to Seattle with 58 people aboard. As it crossed Lake Michigan at night, radar contact vanished. A storm had been nearby, but nothing severe enough to explain a total loss. Rescue teams launched one of the largest inland water searches in U.S. history, deploying Coast Guard cutters, fishing boats, and military aircraft. Some floating seat cushions and small debris were recovered, but investigators determined they weren't from the DC-4. Divers later tried to locate the wreck using sonar, but Lake Michigan is deep, murky, and treacherous, swallowing secrets whole. Even with modern underwater scanning decades later, the plane's resting place has never been confirmed. For a busy, well-mapped lake in the United States, its total disappearance remains eerie and frustrating for aviation experts and families alike. Number 4. Pakistan International Airlines Flight 404. It's one thing to disappear in the middle of the ocean, but near your destination airport? On August 25, 1989, PIA Flight 404, a small Fokker F-27, was approaching Islamabad. It was just minutes from touchdown when communication stopped. The plane never arrived. Search parties scoured the surrounding mountains and valleys for weeks. No wreckage, no survivors, no signal from the black box. For Pakistan's aviation history, it remains one of the most head-scratching mysteries. A short domestic hop that simply didn't. Number 3. Uruguayan Air Force Flight 571. You've probably heard of the Miracle of the Andes. Here's the wild part. Before it became a story of survival, it was another aviation disappearance. On October 13, 1972, a Fairchild FH-227 carrying a Uruguayan rugby team vanished over the Andes. After 8 days of futile searching, authorities gave up. Everyone was presumed dead. 2 months later, hikers spotted survivors who had literally walked out of the mountains. They'd endured freezing temperatures and resorted to unthinkable survival tactics. Yes, that part. Their incredible story inspired books and films, but if those men hadn't hiked to safety, the crash site would still be buried in snow and considered missing. Number 2. Indian Air Force AN-32. On July 22, 2016, an Antonov AN-32 carrying 29 people took off toward Port Blair over the Bay of Bengal and promptly disappeared. No distress calls, no emergency beacons. India launched its largest search ever, deploying ships, submarines, aircraft, and satellites. For years, nothing. Finally, in January 2024, wreckage was confirmed off Chennai's coast. The discovery solved where, but not why. Theories range from catastrophic engine failure to sabotage. Even with 21st century tech, sometimes the ocean just wins. Number 1. Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370. On March 8, 2014, a Malaysia Airlines Boeing 777 with 239 people aboard departed Kuala Lumpur for Beijing. About 38 minutes in, during a routine handoff between air traffic controllers, it vanished from secondary radar. Military radar later tracked it, making an abrupt left turn, crossing Malaysia, and heading into the Andaman Sea, before disappearing completely. What followed was the most expensive search in aviation history, spanning 120,000 square kilometers of remote ocean. Satellite handshakes hinted the plane flew for hours before running out of fuel in the southern Indian Ocean. Small debris eventually washed up, but the main wreck has never been found. Theories abound: hijacking, pilot suicide, cargo fire, hypoxia. The official 2018 report by Malaysia's government offered more questions than answers and harshly criticized early response failures. At least the tragedy pushed new safety rules, longer-lasting black box batteries, better oceanic tracking, and upgraded cockpit recording protocols. Small comfort when the core question, how can a 250-ton jet vanish in the age of global surveillance, remains unanswered. And that's our journey through some of the most chilling plane disappearances in aviation history. If you enjoyed this deep dive into aviation's greatest mysteries, hit that like. And don't forget to subscribe with the bell turned on so you don't miss our next adventure into the unexplained. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.